Let's talk about this kind of age-old debate of like renting versus buying. You could really zoom this out into kind of like the American dream and capitalism. And oh, hang on, no. We're not making that kind of video. It's not a video essay. Hey, what's going on, everyone? Jordan Anderson here. So about every 2 years, it seems that cameras come and go. You buy the one model, a new model or an upgraded version comes out, or a new lens or a new ecosystem. As a filmmaker, if you kept up with this, you would be out tens of thousands of dollars by now. Having, even a camera like this, the 70D, had I kept up with the 80D and then the 90D, and then maybe upgraded to a larger Canon camera, and then maybe an RF. It's like there's so much that just kind of compounds over itself. Like you're just buying camera models over and over and over. Okay, so I kind of want to get to like the root of the whole camera shopping experience and kind of like the struggle that filmmakers go through and the kind of like American economy. And culturally, it becomes like ownership is like kind of the like largest virtue or the best virtue that you can have. So like the kind of idea of like American ownership, it's the best thing that can ever happen to you is that you buy a house, or then like the second best thing that could ever happen to you is that you buy a car, and then owning something, buying something, having something like your own land, your own house, your own car. Like having that ownership is like, it seems throughout American culture, it seems like that's the like number one thing that everyone's going for. Like that's the American dream that everyone is like, if you had to like articulate what is the American dream, it's like, it's ownership, like owning something. And I mean, you can see this on social media, you can see this culturally, that the idea of ownership is put at a very high pedestal. And then you talk about the conversation of renting something. Renting your apartment is a waste of money. Leasing a car or renting a car is a waste of money. We're against the idea of renting something. You start out at the top, you're like, okay, well, I definitely can't buy a house, can't afford that. So then you're gonna go down one step, you're like, okay, can't buy a brand new car, but maybe I can buy a used car. And you're like, okay, well, that's not really fulfilling the American dream. So then you kind of go down one step to our level, like the filmmaking world, where, okay, the ownership in gear and camera gear, okay, that's like, maybe that's more in my price range, but at least I'm owning something. At least I can say like, this is mine, this is my property, this is what I have. I have my camera, I have my lenses, and then that kind of feeds into my identity as a filmmaker. And I think it gets really conflated really fast. So we take all those virtues, like owning something is really good, renting something is really bad, and then we bring that into our video production world, and then we're trying to run our own video production businesses. And we say like, okay, we have to own a camera. We have to go buy a camera. What camera are we going to buy? What lens system are we going to buy into? And then what happens a lot of times, it just feels like 50% of filmmakers I've talked to don't consider renting as an option. Like they would much rather buy the camera, buy the gear, buy the new vest, buy the new gimbal rig, whatever, as opposed to just renting it. And for the longest time, like I have felt kind of crazy, am I the only crazy one doing this? Like I feel like I just need to have like the basic bare minimum camera package, and then on the flip side, rent whatever else I need. Like just have kind of this like baseline. I have my GH5, one lens, and that's it, like a couple batteries. So I'll give you kind of like my story of like renting versus buying. And like throughout this, it's like every YouTube camera review you watch, like you just constantly bombarded like the newest camera, newest review.
I had to build it up. I had to make it more of a proper cinema rig to really be happy with.
And you get this weird impression that all these filmmakers that you're watching and love watching on YouTube, like they have these cameras, they own these cameras. So then you feel like this kind of FOMO, like you have to own the camera, like you have to go get the camera, like go upgrade. And it's like all very baked into the system. Like it's the same way that Apple's trying to sell you the latest iPhone, Canon and Sony are trying to sell you the latest camera. It's not some like professional opinion that you need this new camera. It's really just marketing. I've always felt kind of crazy, or always felt like kind of an outcast, like saying that renting is more important, or renting is a better strategy than owning your camera outright. Or if you're going to own a camera, just like get a very base, small, minimal package, and then rent everything else to kind of fill in the gap. Throughout my filmmaking career, I've had just one camera. I've had the kit lens, or a lens that was loaned to me, or like a free lens that I found, and then rented everything else, whether it was lights, whether it was an extra lens, whether it was any kind of stabilizer, gimbal, rig system, even tripods. Like I still have this $70 Walmart tripod that I bought 5-6 years ago. It's not even like, it's just I don't need something crazy. I just needed something that just holds the camera up for videos like this. And on larger projects, I would go and rent something. We all put this like buying a house on the highest pedestal, buying a new car on the highest pedestal, and that like once you get that, once you achieve this goal, once you buy that house, once you buy that new car, that you're going to feel something. You're going to like, it's going to unlock something. You're going to like reach this new level. You're going to become a new person. Well, really, you get the new gear, you get the new house, you get the new piece of equipment, and you're not that much different, and your habits are still the same, and you still have the kind of same perspective that you had on the world and how you approach your craft. What I see is kind of like the benefits of renting is that based on every project, you can budget that in. So the kind of financials, like if you were to buy a camera outright, you are investing $3,000 to $5,000 up front, maybe more. And then you're kind of in that red zone. You're negative 5,000 until you get a project or until you work enough projects that pay for that camera. Whereas if you're renting, you bake in the rentals into the project, and that's going to help you kind of set your prices, and that's going to help you like pad in your profit. So when you approach a profit, you are paying yourself. You're paying yourself as a producer. You're paying yourself as the editor and as the cinematographer. So you've got those kind of line items. But then you're also adding in the rental budget, and then you're adding in your profit. And that way you're not like, whatever you need, whatever the project calls for, you have a kind of like at will, almost this kind of like a la carte approach that every project is different. So therefore every rental package is different, and every camera and gear that you have is different for the project. So you're able to kind of like stay lean and stay agile in that way, where you can kind of move from project to project without having to constantly acquire gear, get new gear, upgrade gear, repair gear, send gear back. Yes, it's minimalism, but it's kind of like minimalism from a business perspective. Like you're keeping your upfront expenses as low as possible so that you can move on to the next project. And if that next project needs another rental package, boom, you just add that to the line item, and you kind of keep going. You just kind of keep this, you stay nimble throughout the process. Cameras come out all the time. There's new models of camera, there's new lenses that come out, there's new pieces of gear and equipment that come out. Having access to the latest gear also keeps you a sharper filmmaker. You're able to say to your friends, you're able to say to your colleagues and clients that you have access and you have experience with the latest gear. If you're renting the FX9 all the time, or some kind of the latest Sony camera or latest Canon camera, you're able to kind of keep up, and it kind of keeps your resume fresh. Say if you're a camera operator or a cinematographer that's freelance, you can say, okay, I do have access to this kind of gear. I've used this gear before. I am familiar with this. And yes, even though at home you may just have the old A7S Sony, but now you have access to the latest. And like the idea that you have access to this new gear and experience, I think is one side internally a good thing, but also if you're that type of person that feels that, and I've still never understood this type of filmmaker, that you feel like you have to impress the client. Well, if you have to impress the client, then the kind of two options you have are make a huge capital investment up front, spend $10,000 on the latest camera, rig it up, add some rails, add some rods, add some matte boxes and all that stuff. Or you could just go and rent that and just have it for the weekend, show your clients that, let your clients like feel like they're having the big filmmaking experience, and then you send that shit back to the shop on Monday, and that's it. Tell me guys in the comments what you guys think. If buying is a better idea or renting is a better idea, owning your own gear is the best thing you can do for your business versus renting, and renting is throwing money in the trash. Let me know what you guys think. My name is Jordan Anderson. Hope you guys enjoyed this. Be sure to subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.